What's going on, everybody? Time for another exciting day for YouTube Recap. We had a really decent day today. A lot of volatility, a lot of targets still wide open. So it's going to be really interesting leading into PCE on this force up on a really dead data candle. So we got a lot to cover today. There's a lot of really good info here today. And before we start, just in case you didn't see on the website or Twitter or anything on the following, we are running a flash sale. If you guys want to come into BRT, you want to follow us as traders, you want to check it out for a month, we got a 20% off on a monthly. Discount code is flash sale, no space. Okay. So if that interests you, hop on into the website. If not, let's get into her. So this morning, posted up a whole bunch of downside targets. We're just looming today, just a very awkward looking day. So we stayed out till data, obviously huge prints today, all the crash report, GDP, jobs, so on and so forth. And that is a catalyst to get scammed up to the upside. And it was really weird to leave all of these algo distributions open that need to be closed down, that have imbalances. Now, again, market's always going to do what the market wants, right? So at some point today, we need to hopefully find a little bit of a pullback and a setup short, because we just had a force up on just a really ugly candle. We had zero opportunity to find that downside yet, which is fine. We played the upside accordingly, and all we did was stick to the plan because oscillation indicators told us exactly what to do. So it wasn't a hard morning by any means, but very interesting here. So lead data pop, as we called, I was watching for the downside as well. And again, it just never came. So we can get into that, how the oscillation never came for confirmation. And it was really smooth, actually. So if you missed the YouTube video yesterday, I want to take a quick peek at this. If you're not, I'll post this in the description if you want to take a peek, but let's take a quick listen here. Multiple issues, actually. So when this daily chart breaks under the 10, two things are going to happen. We're going to get a loop swoop or just a dead 50 run. There's only two scenarios that can happen. When the 10 SMA right here in the blue loops, that means the price action breaks. It breaks structure from the prior consolidation of the dailies, goes under this support, under, gets devilishly close to the 50 loop. This is a loop right here, okay? It goes down and loops back up. When that loop happens, it comes into lower high territory or equal high double top territory right here, back to resistance. So what you want to look for. All right, guys, so that's a loop on the 10 SMA. If you'll watch that video, link is going to be in the description, but I go over how the 10 SMA broke over right here. Looked for that confirmation. I go into confirmational watch causes, but I wanted to let you guys know that this loop right here, and again, it could get close to that 50, but it just has to break support of the priors and come back up. Now, I didn't want to see Thursday's candle fill all the way to the downside, which is the engulfing from the last video here and how we were playing it, but we had to look to the downside. We called the downside continuation into the 10 SMA, break the 10 SMA on the daily, like we we're talking about, and loop back up. That was the outlook. So let's take a quick peek here on the inside of the trade day as we get into it. So we have an opportunity here to see right here, 10 SMA daily, okay? So awkwardly enough, the perfect penny tag, that's that blue dash line right here, to the penny, support, loop, swoop, right? So let's look at yesterday's price action. I said I wanted to see this fill down to the candle lower through the golden pocket. So let's take a look at what happened yesterday. And of course, under the golden pocket was the call. So it needed to be underneath the golden pocket of the fib. That's right here. Totally, okay? So that was Thursday's golden pocket, Thursday's high, Thursday's low algo that we're watching on the Fibonacci, okay? So the target per the video, again, it will be in the description, was 55622 under the golden pocket. Slam through the golden pocket. Here's your 10 SMA on the dash blue on the daily. Chop, 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 rejects, loops way under, like we were talking about in the last video. If you back up a little bit, here's that 50 SMA now on the daily. After hours, getting nice and close to that 50. Not as close as I would have liked it to be, but it did manifesto. But most importantly, it broke through the 10 SMA, and the algorithms love to loop these on first tags. And again, we had no confirmation of the break over, which we had just covered. So the scam up is 100% in check, right? So we came back down, pushed really close, and straight up today on the scam, leaving a ton of targets to the downside. Wide open, which is fine, because when we come back down for those algo retags, it's going to be massive. So we had a really good buy swap today, and let's go over a couple of things. Not even a buy swap. I was looking for that downside but there's no confirmation. We didn't have to buy a swap because there was no confirmation on the short. So a short confirmation is something that's going to look for oscillation, volatility index, anything, right? So we start with the volatility index here. We'll go to the VIX first. And the VIX was showing us that yesterday, because we had a very good overnight swing, the VIX closed into a deviation +3. So this is our center, +1, +2 in the red, +3 in the blue. VIX does not like to be outside of even the +1, -1 on an average week, okay? You notice the price action, you're in between the deviations, +1, -1, +1, -1, +1. It needs a extreme catalyst like data to break outside of that 1 +-1 range. Into +3, just like it did here, is a very strong tuition to the downside. So long biased overnight after the after hours dip on NVIDIA scam was going to come all the way back down and produce a move, right? So NVIDIA earnings had the big dump at the after hours. That's what got us close to the 50. Now coming into an opportunity to see continuation over the 10, like we said, remember it was going to break under the 10, loop, and right back up to equal highs, back up towards 562.57, right? And where's that level from? Well, that's the Thursday fibs we've been talking about day after day after day here, 5 days in a row, maybe 4. But coming back to the 5-day, let's go to the daily real quick. So this Thursday candle right here, as you can see, which we've been covering in the last 3 videos, this was the fib engulfing, fib box. Actually, I like yellow. A little easier to see. So fib box right there, high, low, bam. Held the golden pocket, pushed above, could not stay above the 100 fib, so no breakout to the 1618. Came all the way down, filled the body of the Thursday, so that's what we needed to see. And just like in algorithmic fashion, we talked about how the daily chart that broke over the 10 SMA in the last video here had no confirmation. So it broke over the 10 here. It never came back down to the 10 for a first tag like so. So a runaway happens to be a loop 10 because when the 10 SMA catches up finally to price action, it's always a bounce. A lot of the time, shorts get trapped here because it breaks under the 10, loops, and then swoops down like we're talking about. So right now we're looking for the swoop. We got the loop. We got the perfect loop. So it filled Thursday's Fibonacci right here. The whole candle's done. Filled, boom. Under the golden pocket, which we had called right here, it will net us a trade short 255622. Then after hours, ES got snagged right back up, pushed higher and higher and higher. Right? Now the over-under is back to the engulfing candle. So that means the fib range of Thursday is done to the downside. Done. We're up and down both. We have completed the engulfing candle on the Fibonacci side. We have nothing to fill. And again, we'll watch the last YouTube video and it explains that the data on the bottom still needed to be filled. So now the over-under is 562.57. So the further scam here is a fresh low out of structure. Like I said, it needs to break into the low structure, trap shorts, and right back up. And that's the regular algo here. Loops the 10 SMA. Now, if we are over 562.57, that will be the confirmation we need to get to new all-time highs in the 1618. As we're talking about, there's only 2 scenarios I wanted to see. Once this pushes into all-time highs here, we obviously have our 6516. And if we see anything break over that 1618, we're going to all-time highs. And that's fine because this structure back here eventually will give us a pullback to the gap fills. And again, like we said, continue to all-time highs. So it was either going to be a bigger dip buy or a 10 SMA loop and swoop to the upside. So let's get into some of the markers. So we had some really good anchors today, right? So on the anchors, we had some back testables that needed to happen here on SPY. And you know us for the anchors, I put in our last little tidbit of info here for no tag. So our anchors are set up on no tag levels. And that means we set, and again, watch the YouTube recap videos. We cover this in almost every video. Put in 1 here, no tag after hours doesn't count, and no tag live on this low. For after the breakup, we just used this anchor low because all of these candles never came back into the price action, right? So we came back down for a must tag, boop, to the first view app, and off she went. And this helped us with the long biased scam up squeeze, right? So let's talk about oscillation indicators and what kept us thinking long the entire time, right? So with that being said, let's get back to the TOS and see the oscillation. The 5-day 5-minute is our favorite here to be trading with on oscillation, right? So coming into the day, let's get our indicators back up here. all of pre-market, and just like we covered yesterday, the full scam up right here is just way too strong. It's all-time highs. Don't short anything. It's still easy to the upside. We got the 10 SMA loop, and that killed. Look at the RSI and MACD. Do you see anything in the bottom channel? Not even slightly. VIX was the other really big tall tail sign. When had the VIX ever get strength on the MACD to short the market? Well, today, right now, it's its first time, but it's all fake because it's a full manipulation. Look at the RSI, completely stuck in the bottom channel under the 50, MACD bottom channel. And it doesn't matter what the MACD shows right here. It's still a scam. Price action showing you weakness. We're just going down, down, down. And a lot of the time, that's because of that +3 that we talked about earlier. Once we hit a +3, the freaking thing usually jerks back down pretty heavy to like -1 plus some. Notice the last time we were into 3 territory, the next day we made it to -1, right? 3, next day -1, which means easy upside on the market. Very easy VIX reads here, okay? So the 5-day 5-minute is our favorite here on the volatility index. And that showed us that we were going to get the manipulation up, up, up. And we had some algo fills here on SPY in order to get this thing clean set. And the orange and blue markers were my last longs of the day. And I said we could get a short scalp around here. Just wait for it to bust in and then take the short. And there you go. There's the short scalp right there, last algo. And of course, we re-scammed up and she's guaranteed to the upside. No, it's all laughing matter to the market. It's just straight up, right? And I said, look for a short at the end of the day here, or end of the euro close here. If you want to there we go. Minimizing this. If you want to, and look for the lower high confirmation. Well, do we have any confirmation? We have a little bit of a MAC cross, but do we have anything else? Nope. Unfortunately not. Volume is still heavy to the downside. VIX had got manipulated on that MAC, so we're just going to get force up after force up after force up to the scam. Now, not to say we can't pull back, but today is a really lead setup day for indicator magnets, and we talked about those in the last video as well. I want you guys to notice that right here, when we busted into the green 100 EMA at the very last point of the day, into resistance here yesterday, came under, broke back over in after hours, never tagged it in pre-market. That is a no tag. We call that shying around here. So a no tag shy needed to come back. So it never came back, never came back, never came back. You got nothing. It is running away from the 100 EMA. When you see the price action shy away from a tag on a moving average, especially numero uno is the 100 for me. Some other ones work a little bit, but the 100 EMA is the best of the best always. You know that it's going to go straight up. So that's catalyst number 3 that told us we were going to have an easy impulse move to the upside and grind higher, even though we had a bunch of algo targets to the downside, which gets me excited because we had a bunch of targets to the upside as well, which we covered. I think I have NQ on push going as high as 20,000. Oh, way past that even. Let me get to this chart. Yeah, we have imbalances that aren't filled to 20,605. So we're going back up to 20,605 guaranteed. Of course, nothing goes in a straight line. We're just going to wiggle our way up there, but we're in a very good place to do so as the VIX is coming down from the teens and settles down into the under 15 now. We're at about 1520. VIX settles under 1415. We got guaranteed upside still because the volatility index gets out of the way. The market just does these slow controlled grind ups where you see these poor guys get squeezed. I don't understand algorithms, unfortunately. You get these algorithm squeezes, and especially in the 1 minute, you see these all over the place where you get these force ups, right? And it's all just short traps and, you know, the normal junker market mover where she pushes up, finds lower high, lower low, perfect trend, slam up higher high. Perfect lower high, lower low, lower set, slams up to higher high. This isn't trend at all. This is really, really ugly, right? This is not like a nice higher low, higher high flush. This is a, you know, low spot breakout, and it just persists every single time until we hit my algo short of the day. That one worked out to the downside for my algo, and that's first tag algos, right? We covered that on the charts here. Okay, that shouldn't have even been a window there. As we came up here, boom, right? So that first tag algo that needed to be filled from a few days back, that distribution was never tagged the last couple of days. Here, 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 no tags at all. So the first time the price action pushes into an algo level, it has an opposite reaction. So here's your opposite reaction. So you had a SPY reaction here. I said, wait till it breaks over, short it down for the scalp. You had 15 points on ES, which is massive. And of course, Q's led with this one as well, netting you, I think, 40, 80. Jesus. So both indices reacted perfect to the algo level on SPY here for that short scalp. Now you got to look for confirmation for the rest of the trade. So if there's confirmation that appears, you can look at this thing to the downside. If not, we have a guaranteed runner high day that is never going to pull back underneath 562.57. This is the guaranteed hold level. If we don't see any structure breakdown, we will stay above 562.57 inevitably and off to all-time highs. Okay, this is the last level. This is it, 562.57. If this is support on the market, it is all-time high. Okay, done deal. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Open up tomorrow, hold this above PCE data, and we stay above it in PCE. Great. If we break back under, holy goodness, finally we get a little bit of a pullback to go back in long. But right now, it's guaranteed upside 562.57 until level breaks. That's when the guarantee drops. So watch that level. Huge. Okay. So no confirmation yet, all oscillations in the top side. And all we did was play a lot of momentum trading, to be honest. A lot of momentum trading was the 10 SMA daily backtest strength for the long. We hit a higher high there. So that we ended up doing some 1 minute trading. So let's get into that. And then we're going to go over some anchors real fast. So 1 minute trading, you see that. There we go. That MACD really helping on that top trend. Every time the MACD would settle down here a little bit on the minute, came back down to the 0 line as support, matched up with perfect price action into the 100 EMA VWAP. And again, price action cracking through and down right here to that rollover, giving you lower high, high break into algo, down, lower high, lower low break on MACD for the scalp. So we've seen that coming a little bit early, and those were the two bigger trades of the day. Now, we had range room, just to keep in mind, the VWAPs had whole bunch of space. Okay, so the center VWAP is purple, and I use the +2 -2 extensions like a bunch of people do. So as we squeezed up into that +2 and held the center, squeezed up into that +2, scam, came back down, no tag center. See that? That's a no tag. We shied it, which means once we start holding above that 100 EMA, what's it do? Consolidation, squeeze, right? Easy. Shying away from moving averages, shying away from VWAP. Those are the only two spots I really use it is VWAP and 100 EMA. Okay. But easy signals for further scam higher. No confirmational short, even though we watch for it, doesn't have to happen, right? So we have some really clean confirmations, and I got the next levels on NQ all the way up at 19,820 flat, pretty much. I'll give it 15 to 20, 19,815, 19,020. So maybe leading into tomorrow, we'll see, but we're done trading for the day on some huge greens because of those amazing calls that we had this morning. And the pop to drop chop here could not fool us, even though it's pretty nasty out there. We were ready. So let's go over a couple of anchors here on how I would have played these. We had the backtest anchor on SPY there on the 5, but let's talk about the opening anchors. So when I draw anchors, we like to come in, and this one is still no tag, so I'm going to delete this one. I'll grab this low pre-market one. And what I like to do is snag the first high lows of the day, like you've seen on many videos before. And these anchors can be used all the time for extra confirmation on trend, or you waiting to take a positional trade, long or short. Once it hits the anchor, don't touch anything until it hits an anchor is a great strategy. So coming into this momentum scam move that we'd seen coming, anchors were telling us that the trend was there. So a low anchor looks like this, low of day. You slap one on, and then you don't take a long until it anchor tags. It's really that simple. You had volume beats right here telling you that buyers were in control, taller buyer candles on the 5-minute chart. And then you have an opportunity to see some break over highs. So let's put a high anchor on. High a day right after that. Boom. So that would be your target, right? And that is a limited risk target. So this would be your long target from this dip buy. So that dip buy ends up being the anchor. So price action right here, up, boom, purchase, boom, sell, right? That's how we use those anchors. That easy. It's very, very easy peasy, no stress, right? So that dip buy anchor comes up, netted you 14 points on ES. And we trade this through the SPY, like always. It's always the best way to trade futures. Trade it off the SPY and the Qs. Don't even worry about what the futures are doing. Worry about QQQ and SPY. They have much better metrics. So, and then as we came up over that, we needed to backtest it, right? So the top anchor became more of a paranoia, right? We fear it breaking down, held it, algo tag, first tag, which we just talked about, broke it, and scammed everybody right back to the consolidation. Big move, okay? So we still have this anchor as a tag. It's a no tag so far, so we're still waiting for this one. We're going to take our low a day anchor, move it to the higher low, see where this ends up. Okay, perfect tag. So let's go scenario number 2 here. If you would have missed the first one, look at the higher low anchor. Another just tried and true strategy here, guys. Look at this. Anchor pushes up, higher low, algo hit, confirming weakness, bloop, right back to the long, higher high a day. So again, another beautiful dip buy. What are we going to do with the rest of the day? Well, let's take a peek at prior high a day for the top anchor. And there we go. This is your over under level in the micro. So in the micro short term, 1 minute, 5 minute scalp life, you are looking for the breakback over this anchor, hold. It's going to scam, whatever it wants to do. Then finally, it'll break this anchor right here and finally come on back down to some of the anchors it needs to test. So now let's look at the third higher low for an anchor. And again, higher low, so we need to put it on the low. There's the target. So this anchor needs to break, be confirmational break, snaps through, and bloop into this guy. Best case scenario for the scalp, right? We're going to short this higher high scam. Price action scams into a higher high. That's when a lot of delusional longs will take the long for a FOMO breakout, woo, and then they'll get shit on because fresh highs generally have a really good pullback this late in the afternoon. We're coming to 45 minutes after Euro close. So this little area right here is susceptible to pullback after hitting highs because the algos are changing up on Euro. So you're going to look for the pullback. Target 1 is going to be this anchor right here, and then some big bonus rounds. I'd say target 2, 3 are going to come way back down to some of these untagged anchors potentially. It's not a trade call in this one because it is relatively far away. And it can be a little daunting to wait for something that far away when we have such a pressure reversal move here because of the 10 SMA loop, like we said, would push way back up. That's dangerous. So don't just short, close your eyes and hope a target hits. Play the confirmation small, shake out 80% of your trade, let it run around, put a stop out. So what I would do here is I would wait for this anchor to break, come back down. I'd be short up here into the fresh high scam, break through the anchor, comes into target 1 of this anchor. Okay. Cover at least 80, 85% of my trade. If I had, I didn't, maybe 75. If I had 4 contracts on a couple ES, I'd cover 3. And then I would let 1 runner go because those 3, or I'm sorry, it'd be 4 on the total, shorten up here. You'd come back down, we'll call it 10 points, man. $2,000 and would hit you on ES, and then a single runner from here you would cover, and you do have about 30 points to the downside. But again, not looking for that fill today. It's too scammed. It's too strong. It's way too manipulated to the upside. The algos are holding this thing tight. So those data algos that came out, again, doesn't really matter what the news is. I don't really care about that at all. All it is a volume catalyst for me for movement. So with that being said, I think we'll at least come back down and test some of these reputable anchors. If we go to a little bit longer standing time frame, which these work too, I'll give you a little hint here. The 15 does no tag here, of course. We're going to move this one to this guy, and you can see the longer standing time frame also has a higher low no tag. So this one would be a sneaking suspicion of mine on the 15-minute chart, which I use the 5 way more than the 15 because I like to be in and out with my 15 to 30 NQ points, or 2 to 6, 2 to 10 on ES, really pending of what we're going for. So I say under this anchor, continuation with lower high, lower lows, trend confirmation through the afternoon would get you down to this higher low stuck anchor right there. So I think there's still a short of the day. Watch for the short up here. Watch for the confirmational of lower high. Run that back to the 15-minute higher low anchor for the short. And if you're short up in this area, down to that anchor, 17 points to 13 to 17 points. So I still think we're pretty good. Your stop out range would obviously be a blowout. On trend back up, we do have a couple targets here that could see on SPY. I think she's slowing down for the day. So if the MACD and if the VIX actually wants to set up a higher low on the RSI, it actually sets them up, great. If not, this thing's just going to keep scamming higher and higher and higher. So try not to play too much on the counter trend side on this one. When candles slow down this much, they become very manipulated, very scummy, which is fine. Just play the trend. That means it doesn't mean the market's untradeable. It just means it's unshortable, right? Don't mess with the trend. All the oscillation indicators we just covered, RSI's in the top channel, MACD's in the top channel, higher low, higher highs everywhere. You see the blowouts on the 1-minute chart just snapping up after lower high, lower low setups, just right. And it takes like 2 seconds to get there, right? I mean, we've seen this time and time and time again. Look at that minute chart we just covered. Just look at that nastiness. Boom, lower high, lower low. Oh, it might be weakness breakdown. Whoop, takes like 6 candles right back up to the top where it took 30 candles to get down there. And again, 30, 40 candles to the downside, bloop, straight back up, fire round. Okay. So with that being said, please be careful. If you could get, we do have a sale running, flash sale, no space. You want a month on BRT? You want to come check us out and try live with us and hear me narrate this stuff every morning? I'm here for you. If this YouTube produces some value for you, jump into the Apex and Top Step links we have below. And if not, we'll see you on the next video. Take care.